Hayden Hollis, first of all, we got a prognosis on his Achilles injury.
Yeah, it looks it's a rupture, so it's a serious one. We thought it at the time, so it's it's an unfortunate one. He didn't deserve with his form, and a blow for us. But we move forward. We try and be positive as we can. Give him the environment he needs to recover, and the support, and hopefully, well, I'm sure he'll come back stronger knowing the character he is.
Is that his season over?
And some.
And some. Well, obviously, best wishes to Hayden, because that's a significant blow. In terms of others, Maguire, McCourt and Gunning, are they available to come back?
Two of the three are. One's had a slight setback, nothing too serious, but the one that doesn't make it, will be in the fold over the coming 7 days.
And I assume you're not prepared to tell us which one that is?
Not at this stage, you'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, worth an ask anyway. Clearly it's the first of 5 2-game weeks coming up. Are you going to need to use the squad in its entirety to keep yourselves fresh in this coming period?
Yeah, we've got 8 games in 23 days, haven't we? So, we've done it. We've shown we can do that and pick up results over the last period before this little 2-week, 2 fixtures in 2 weeks where it's calmed down. So, yeah, we've got to go again. We're ready. We've done a lot of work on bouncing back, mental strength. We've shown that. We've got to do that again. I thought we'd done really well in the game against Eastleigh, coming back at half time when we were probably the weaker team in the first half slightly, which we've been unused to because we're used to dominating games most recently in the last few months. And it showed a different side. We didn't play too well for the 90 minutes overall, but for the 45 minutes in the second half, certainly for half an hour, we looked back to our best. We changed things around slightly tactically, and it worked. And we created numerous chances in that half an hour period in the second half, and should have won comfortably in the end. But I really, really liked the bounce back at half time from the group. I liked the words that were said to each other at half time from the group as well. They're really empowering themselves, and they showed that in the second half.
Yeah, could we see the 4 at the back used a little bit more, either from the start of games or within games as an alternative?
Yeah, we're working on that. We want to be flexible, tactically flexible. We showed that at Eastleigh, I'm sure, at some stage or from the start in games in the future. We've shown we can revert back to the back 4 if necessary, and other shapes as well. So it worked. We obviously played Nathan wide left. I know it's been reported that he looked like he played as a striker. He didn't. We went to a front 3. And it really worked with Whelan on the other side. So we created numerous chances. So that's an option we can take up. We'll see what we set up tomorrow like.
I was going to say, that sort of forward combination, was that something that impressed you in terms of how those players worked off each other and complemented each other?
It is, but I don't want to get too wrapped up in shapes and formations. It's about your playing principles, and how we started the game wasn't good enough. We didn't start at the tempo we wanted. We didn't dominate the ball or the space. And there's only 2 ways you can do that in football: is you either dominate the ball or the space, or you do both. If you do both, you're going to certainly win more than you lose. We didn't do either. So certainly we wanted to put that right in the second half. We were better with the ball. I think we can be even better than that. We certainly dominated the territory in the space with our counter press. High pressure in controlled situations, and we really pinned them in, and that was important. When it popped out, we were sharper on the second barrier. That just wasn't there in the first 45. That happens because the games we're playing thick and fast. You can't beat your best all the time, and it's important we don't concede during the periods that we are perhaps not at our best.
You mentioned what the players said at half time in that. Is that exactly what you want to see? If things aren't necessarily going well, that they're standing up, they're talking, they're aware of sort of what's going on and the improvements that could be made?
Massively. The changing room was far too quiet when I came into the club. It just wasn't the right dynamic in there for any elite sports team that wants to be successful. Certainly the way it's going now, it's communication is crucial within the group. And communication has always been there in football, of course. We're not reinventing the wheel. It's just the manner of empowering people themselves, making sure they're the master of their own destiny, if you like, and having that autonomy to speak up. That's important. especially in elite sports these days. So we've certainly got that, but obviously there's a respect there for the staff that when we do speak, they take fully on board what we've got to say. And it's working really well at the moment. Really, I said that at the end of the game. Really impressed with the dynamic of the group. Can we push forward now these last 13 games and secure a playoff place?
And I imagine empowering all the sort of people within your squad, whether it's the players or the staff, to speak up and having an opinion will enable them to sort of feel even more valued within a group of people trying to achieve something.
Of course, it's all about the team on and off the field. We're very close here now, quite quickly. Results help that. The results help you build that confidence and that belief in the process and the culture. We've still got a long way to go in what we want to do with the culture, and pre-season, more learning will certainly be drip fed into the group of how we want to proceed with the culture. But certainly you're quite right, it's crucial. It brings people together on the journey with you, supporters included. But it's important to remember that yes, opinions are valid. Yes, sometimes those opinions will be acceptable or taken on, but obviously the leaders, the staff, myself, when we want to decide something, when we go in a certain direction, it's important that everyone comes together on that direction, whether they agree with it or not.
Have you seen an extra spark in training this week from Lynn Mandeville after his goal?
He deserved that goal. He's had chances, he's created chances for others in the Wrexham game. In other games he's been a creator, Yeovil, etc., and hasn't quite had the chances himself or finished off the chances himself when he's had the minimal chances people created for him. So it was really important that he got that goal. I thought he took it really well. Watching it back, he moved his feet really well and adjusted his body with a great finish. So it wasn't an easy finish, and he made it look really easy. He's one to watch for the future. People forget he's only 24. He's still developing. He's not in his peak years yet, and he's certainly showing his worth. It's stringing those performances together now. Can he do that?
Yeah, what does he need to do sort of more of, better of, to enable himself to become a first team regular?
He just needs to be more consistent in his performances. I was asked that question after the game at Eastleigh, and that's what he needs to do. He's got the ability, he's got the work ethic and the desire to do it. His training's superb. He's a real professional. But he needs to realise that to play in a successful team, he needs to put in consistent performances. It can't be 9 out of 10 and then 5 out of 10. It needs to be, if he doesn't play so well, it needs to be minimum 7 to contribute to the game. That's crucial for his development.
No game on Easter Monday for yourselves, of course, but you remain sixth with a game in hand, at least a game in hand, and others. Were you happy with the outcome of the Easter weekend as a whole? I knew you'd have preferred to have played it on the Monday.
Well, after the game against Eastleigh with the injuries we had, I said perhaps it wasn't great that maybe it is great, that we weren't playing on Monday, because we had a few knocks with obviously the injury to Hayden. Gavin wasn't quite ready. Perhaps it was a blessing in the end. Yes, of course, we're pleased. We jumped up a place to 6th. We secured that 6th place without playing. We've got to be happy with that. We're on track to where we want to achieve, or what we want to achieve on May the 29th is the first little objective now. Can we get in the playoff spots as quick as possible, secure that place, and then look up even more? It's going to be a tough ask, though, because some really great teams around us, a lot of ex-league clubs that are similarly with the same budgets as us. So it's going to be difficult. It's never going to be easy, but it's going to be worthwhile if we get there.
Yeah, 4 wins and 4 clean sheets in a row now. Clearly some great momentum at the moment, but as you said consistently, it's about having that momentum, particularly if you are going to end up in the playoffs, right towards the end of the season, isn't it? That's the challenge now. Yes,
but they're one-off games once you get in there. Obviously, I know myself losing twice at this level in them. It's cutthroat at that stage, but let's worry about that when we get there. Let's just focus on these next games. First and foremost, we've got to overcome a stubborn Kings Lynn team that, despite their position, despite there's no relegation, they've picked up 2 wins in the last 2 games. We know what's coming. They're tactically fluid as well. They change their shape in games to get results. They only did that on Monday, where they've changed their shape and got 2 goals and won the game. So we know the difficulties that face us imminently. We've got to be ready for that. I'm sure we are. We've trained superbly. The atmosphere in the group's really positive. They're working their socks off for the club, and that will only serve us well in these games.
Yeah, another team that's had an impressive rise, really, with back-to-back promotions. How impressed have you been with what Kingsland have managed to do over the last few years?
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? That they're a part-time team that have come up with 2 back-to-back promotions, like you say. They've done really well. It will be a tough challenge for us going there. It's not an easy place to go, as other teams have found.
And from what you've just said, with the fact that there's no relegations this season, for them, that will make this season a really valuable kind of learning experience to find their feet in the National League and to sort of really get to grips as to what they can do in order to push on next season and not be down the bottom of the league.
Yeah, they can utilise this time, can't they? And they can experiment. It's dangerous as well as an opponent because they can play with freedom. They also can push people forward in false positions, which I've seen clubs do in and around them. For example, Weymouth did that in the second half here. They would never go 4-2-4. And if they're obviously in a relegation battle, 1-0 down just before half time, they would never go 4-2-4 in their shape. So they can surprise you like that. Teams, they're dangerous like this because there's no relegation. So we've got to be aware of that. We are. And we've got to make sure we're fully focused and influencing it how we want to, so we don't allow them to have an influence in such things as chucking numbers forward or being in false positions or changing their shape, and we're not prepared. We are fully prepared. We've trained really well. Everything's positive, and we're hoping to get a win tomorrow.
And I'm sure Tyler Denton and Alex Kiwami will be keen to make an impression if they get an opportunity for them. I suppose that just shows the nature and speed of change that there's been at Chesterfield.
Yeah, they served the club well. I led to believe before I came here. Obviously, they didn't get any minutes under me. Yeah, I'm sure they're chomping at the bit to, ex-players trying to prove their ex-clubs wrong. I'm sure they will be, but we don't really worry about that. We focus on ourselves.
Good luck, James. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, James.
Hi, Lynn.
I just wanted to ask you about Tom Denton. Obviously, I know that we're not going to be seeing him again this season, but how's he getting on with his recovery?
Yeah, I've just seen him downstairs. Yeah, he's in good spirits. He's working hard with Nick. He's utilising this time the best he can to physically improve his body. So he comes back even stronger, and I'm sure he will.
And another player I wanted to ask you about is Fraser Kerr. He's just nothing seems to faze him, and he's yet to actually concede a goal while Chesterfield have been on the pitch, which is pretty impressive. How impressed have you been with how he's settled in?
Well, like you said, if you're a defender and you've been involved in 6 or 7 games and you are yet to concede while you're on the pitch, obviously it's going to do your confidence the world of good. It's going to allow you to build relationships quickly with the units that you work in, and also the team. They're going to have confidence in you, so it works both ways. You can quickly build good relationships that way if you're successful, and certainly as a defender to do that. He's had a similar start to Quasi's life here as a striker, I would say. Obviously scoring goals, creating goals, and at the other end Fraser's keeping the goals out, but also his pressure points, the way he's getting tight, aerial duels, the defending side of it. He really is playing his part, so I'm really, really pleased how he settled in, but I had no doubts when we signed him what a good player he is.
And he's shown his versatility as well, sort of moving across that back three, which has obviously been important with the last few games with the injuries. It
is, and that's going to be important going forward. We need to be our individuals need to play in different positions, and we've shown that. Obviously, Nathan playing wide left for a half at Eastleigh had a real impact. Tom playing on the right. Jack Clark playing as a 10 or an 8, and Fraser playing across the back three. That's regular. We're going to be doing that, and hopefully the sessions that we're doing and the hours we're putting in on the training ground will serve us good in that instance.
And how much credit does Joseph Yarney deserve after his last couple of performances as someone who hasn't played too much since the new year, but has come in and done himself well, hasn't he? Well,
that's what we're trying to create here. This is what I was talking about: the culture, the demand. There's no stone unturned in regards to statistics, but statistics that are relevant to what we want to do. I don't know what other clubs are doing. I'm not interested. I'm interested in what we're doing here. What numbers you need to hit in certain positions in a normal game at home or away. We know We know what we need to do on game day -2 on a Thursday, what numbers we want to hit as a group to be able to be fresh for Saturday, as an example. So everyone's buying into that, and the staff are massive behind me, making sure that if those numbers aren't hit, I'm aware, or what do we need to do with certain individuals to make sure that everyone's got an individual program within the structure, so they know what they need to do as an individual each day. That's massive, and that empowers the individual. That makes them the master of their own destiny. They know what they need to do to get in the team, to have an impact. Now, Joseph's done that. Hayden has also done that when he's come out of the team. So I'm expecting that of every individual that comes out of the squad, to make sure that you're still determined, you're still fully focused on what we want to achieve as a collective. Because there's a common goal here, what we want to achieve, supporters included, board. We know we've got a chance of achieving this year and next year. So this is what we want to do. Joseph Yanni's brought into that. He deserves his opportunity, and he's taken it.
Yeah, so does his comeback send a message to other players who perhaps might not be involved as much at the minute, that there is still an opportunity and you've got to be ready to take it when it does arise? Exactly,
and it's important that the words I use are backed up with my actions as the manager, as the leader of this process. So if the things I've said since, I don't know, January about the squad, about what we need, when the opportunity arises, it's important that you give those players that opportunity, and it's happened, and that builds an even greater togetherness in the group. They know their chance is going to come, and that should keep you on your toes, especially with 13 games left and we're 6th in the league. If nothing's going to excite you as a supporter, as a player, as a board member, whatever you are involved in the club, whether you're the chef, if that doesn't excite you to be part of this process now, then perhaps you're in the wrong sport.
And does that scenario perhaps relate to Martin Smith as well? Are we really starting to see him get into his stride as well now? Yeah,
I was really pleased with his physical output against Eastleigh. Technically, he's better than that. I think there was too many turnovers, but it wasn't just him. But he is a ball player. His range of passing's excellent, and I think there's more to come from him. Certainly, in patches in games, he's really shown his worth. I thought first half against Aldershot in particular, I thought he really done well. He really dictated the tempo for us, and he's got the capability to do that. Out of possession, his desire, his physical output is unquestioned in every game. He was the second highest runner against Eastleigh, highest high intensity efforts in the team as well. So that shows the impact he had physically out of possession. Now, can he marry that in possession as well for longer periods in the game?
No goals in 6 for Kwasi Asante, but he's still massively contributing to performances and wins, isn't he?
He is, but we've spoken about it. He's fully focused on the next game. As long as we win, he's a happy man. He wants to obviously provide goals for the teams. He's done that. His record so far is still very impressive. I think he's hit the post 2 or 3 times in this last 6 games as well. It's not quite gone for him, but he knows, and that he's going to keep getting in there, and he's going to score. If he doesn't score in the next one, I'm sure he'll score on Tuesday night. I have every confidence.
Can you quite put your finger on why he's not managed to, hit the back of the net recently? Anything changed at all? Or?
No, nothing changed. He hasn't changed any habits. He's consistent with his behaviours. Like I just said, I'm very confident that he's going to score tomorrow. If not, I'm sure midweek or the following one.